What's up, guys? Welcome to the AAC podcast. We are finally live again here in person.
Woo!
I'm my boy Jaron. I got who we got over here? Who's this guy over here?
My name's Alex.
This is Alex, guys. If you guys haven't been watching the past couple podcasts, Alex has really been really shining and really adding some perspective to some of the things that we've been talking about. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like the shining word. He is very shiny.
Thank you. I feel very shiny in this face reveal. I'm usually behind the.
You're
the
usually
cameras,
behind
so
the scenes.
Switchboarding. Then I popped in a few times, and now I'm here.
But who knew Alex really had this much, this much information, this much data to be able to embrace us with? So
No, I think it's great because I think Alex brings a perspective that me and you don't have.
Yeah.
One is his age. He's about a decade younger than us.
He's single, ladies.
And he's single.
Yeah.
And he's got a crazy backstory, which we've only barely dove into, which gives him a lot of the perspective that he has and also the insight and wisdom.
He is a bit of man of mystery over here. So Alex, man, super excited to have you part of the team here. And so today, there was something that really stood out to me recently, and I was just thinking about how, with last time we spoke a lot about the media side, but then I realized we're getting really desensitized on a lot of different things that's happening in the country. And usually when people think of desensitized, they're thinking of violence. I want to go a little bit deeper on that, more not just violence, but kind of just all kinds of things like sex, when it comes to religion, when it comes to, even our own ability to not have our own standards and principles anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to get into, and just everything that's going on in the media, and along with our tolerance for how we're being okay with currently just how we're just not healthy as a country, as a nation anymore. Or do you feel like we're going to get back to that?
That's a tough question. That how you ended that. Do you think we're gonna get back to that?
Or is this even a good thing? Because sometimes, it could be a good thing.
I think my personal opinion on is, can we come back? Yes, we can. I think it's gonna take going back to a God-fearing country to go back to it, because I think you can look through history. Like when you go away from God, civilizations just fall apart. They really do. They may prosper for a long time, but eventually they just fall down.
Now, back in the day when when people were experiencing death all the time, you had people getting beheaded, you had people getting stoned to death, and we obviously don't want to go that far back, right?
I don't think it's about.
Because that was actually normal back then.
Yeah, but I don't think it's about going farther back. I more meant this is the topic that's just so dumb all the time, is this dumb trans thing. But you're normalizing something that's very clearly not a normal thing. And it's a very minute, small portion of the population. And so when you're look at the Olympics, for instance. They got dudes dressed as women playing in the Olympics, and you say something about that, you're the weirdo. But everybody knows deep down inside there's something wrong with it.
Yeah, no one's saying anything, but everyone really knows they're just not allowed to.
Yeah. And so what I'm saying is when you get to a point when you're so far gone, when truths become lies and lies become truths, basically. You're in trouble. And so can we get back to what you're talking about? I think we can, but I think the only way back is literally becoming a God-fearing nation, because we've gone so far into the crazy zone with not just that topic, but a lot of other things. And I think I personally believe if we keep going at the rate we'll be like Rome. We will destroy ourselves from within, and we will completely fall apart as a country. Yeah. Even the world, it's kind of insanity out there right now. I don't know if you guys have been watching this political thing with Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, and to me it's like the Hunger Games. I'm literally
You
feel like
you
I'm
think-
watching the Hunger Games, you
It
guys.
is like the capital city in the Hunger
Yeah,
Games a
dude.
lot. Yeah.
But are we the capital?
Who's we?
Us, the United States. Are we the capital?
No. I look at like the Democratic Party right now is the
like
capital.
Hollywood and political elites.
But come on, you can't say that we also don't have our own level of we're in the capital here now.
No. Here, this is what I mean by it. Like,
Okay.
let me rephrase this to be clear. It's what is happening right now with Kamala Harris not getting any votes, totally wrecked democracy. But everybody on the left in the media will say Trump's going to go wreck democracy. It is gaslighting 101. I could name like 10, 20 things in a row that they are literally gaslighting. And you look at it, and it's like, this is like the Hunger Games because you're watching the media portray this stuff. And they're like, she doesn't even know how to answer half the questions. And I'm not saying Trump is the greatest person to run the country. I like him. Don't get me wrong.
I think, I think there's still, like, Trump, as far as right now, he is actually like the best of two evils, I think. Still think Trump still has a lot to learn. I still think Trump needs to be able to control who he is. But when it comes to freedom, like, yes, he represents us being able to get back to freedom, being able to get away from the traditional ways of politics, trying to give more power to the people. And I do not feel Trump is a uniter. He is not. Can we agree with that?
I know what you mean by that. I'm trying to think, like, yeah, I don't think he's a uniter, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
This is the thing with someone who speaks truth very like brutally. You'll often be a uniter and a divider. So you'll unify the people who are seeking truth, and then immediately you divide everyone else. But that's the thing. Like, you can't be in politics and be one or the other.
But I agree, he's the general that we need right now. He is
Yeah.
the general that we do need right now. But when it comes to, really going and moving the country forward together, he's not that guy. To me.
Do you think he's more that though than Kamala?
Oh yeah, so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, he's the
Yeah.
better. He's the better choice, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think Kamala is definitely not a uniter. Kamala can barely get through any kind of interview without having a babysitter right there.
That's why I said that's my whole
Yeah.
point of why it's like watching the Hunger Games, because you'd watch the Capitol people and they're crazy. But the thing is, the people that follow the leaders, they don't know better. Most of them, they're blinded. They're like they are deceived.
I think that's true. Yeah, we're definitely desensitized to like noticing flaws because we're kind of trained to ignore it because we're not allowed to talk about certain things. So like you've said before on a lot of the podcasts, like the devil likes to introduce one lie with 9 truths and then 8 and 2 and then 3 and 7 and then like slowly work his way down. It's that familiarity that like that the media will try to portray something as like 99% good, 1% evil, and they just get you to be familiar with it for a couple years, and then they start moving the line a little bit more, and then somehow a few decades later we end up where we are right now, where it's mostly lies and almost no truth.
What's that? What there's an experiment that's been used on us several times. Have you guys heard about that Fruit of the Loom not having the cornucopia?
The Mandela effect.
The
The Mandela effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they're using that. I mean, you say it enough times, and you also try to get rid of, whatever proof of it. There's going to be a lot of people that follow it, and so there's a level that of that they're using that whole the Mandela effect, because no one voted for this person. She is the most.
Right.
She is the most disliked, and also the most like, she's like pretty much, a ghost in the White House. She hasn't done anything. Or is she the one actually pulling the strings and just having Biden be the kind of put Biden in front of her, but she's back there kind of like, again.
No, not a chance.
Not-
Biden and her aren't doing anything. No
Yeah.
way.
People that
You don't
we
think she has any kind of influence?
Oh no, she
ever
has influence. I don't think that she's actually pulling strings though.
You don't think so?
I could be wrong, but I really don't.
Yeah, with politics being as dirty as it is, like other people pull strings even though they have the positions of authority. Other people, special interest groups that donate and like control people with money or blackmail will get people in the positions of power to do something for them.
Yeah.
There's that, and the reason I think this also is if you ask her any question, she does not have an answer for like anything. She does not know what's going on, you guys. And it's not, and like here's the things, you can't know everything. But when you just look at Biden talking and you look at Kamala talking, they don't even know what's going on in the country, it seems
But
like.
to me, it's just like, how can you not come prepare with like some policies for yourself? I'm like, you spent this whole time, you've already, like, you must already have a team. Like, to me, if I'm going to go and do something and like maybe do a presentation, I'm making sure I am prepared to be able to cover what they're going to say, how they're going to say it, and be able to present it and practice and practice. It goes back to like selling. If you're going to sell something, you want to be able to at least role play with people, role play with your team, with, with your other sales executives to be able to, okay, if they say something, you're going to go over that rebuttal. How do you go over that rebuttal? This is what you say. She hasn't done any of that. She's completely winging it.
Because it's great. We're on this topic. What's the word again? Decentralization? No.
Desensitization.
Desensitized.
Desensitize,
Yeah.
not zation.
Not zation.
But I think this just answered that question is because they don't care. They don't need to say this bullet point. They don't need to convince you this because the people that are going to vote for them will vote for them no matter what they say. Like literally, they can basically say the sky is falling and they will still vote for them.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of their party will because they hate Trump or they don't want to go on the other side. So they don't need to prepare for that. They need to go bash the other side because the game changed for them.
True.
They aren't going to get anyone that likes Trump. They already know that. They don't care.
Yeah, it just baffles me that they're trying to make people, there was never a cornucopia on your Fruit of the Loom shirt. You never not disliked this person. You've always liked her. I'm like, come
We're
on,
going here,
give me a
Alex.
break.
Where are we going?
He just opened the can of worms. I don't know if we're going to go all the way to the beginning of this.
Okay.
We're going to the root. You'll follow me in a second.
Okay.
Did you listen to that podcast yet?
I have not.
I didn't think so.
I have not.
We're going there. Okay.
We're going there.
Let's go there.
Okay. So we're gonna like, gosh, I won't do all of this because we're gonna recap it, but to kind of go, I can't pronounce this word again. What's the word?
Desensitized.
Desensitized. Okay. So we're talking about politics. So to go to the root to this, if you go back when Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, when the enemy fell, okay, what happened? A divide, a war came, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Then
right.
what happened? We sinned, humans. Now there's arguments and there's however that happened in timeline, no one actually knows, but there's a lot of theories, okay? But where I'm going to go with this is it's going to get a little blurry here for anyone that listens to Blurry Creatures podcast. So think of it this way is God created humans in the image of God, right? You've heard that?
Yeah.
In his likeness.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
So when we were created, we were given authority and dominion over earth. Okay? We were. Not Satan and not his minions and not his generals. Human beings, whether you believe in God or not, were given authority and dominion to rule on this planet. Okay? Following?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you.
So what happened was the enemy, the way to get that is he needed to usurp our authority to gain that power. And that's how he got Eve to eat the apple. So then he gained power. He gained that authority. Okay? So this is gonna go down a whole nother rabbit hole right now
Okay.
for you, but this is good. So what happens is he still does that today, right? He has to take your authority away to get it. That's who I believe is running all these shows. Okay? Now, here's the fun part is what happened back in the day of like Noah and the flood and all that, okay? Yeah, we're going there. So I believe in Genesis 6, it talks about this, and also in the book of Enoch, in the Watchers, it goes really into it. But like the angels, the Watchers fell and had sex with human women. Okay.
Okay.
Created half breeds called the Nephilim. It's in Genesis 6. Okay. So why did they do that? I think there's a few reasons for it. Okay. I love Roy's smile. You're gonna see where I'm bringing this back in.
Yes, go ahead.
I kind of want to see where you're bringing this back into.
Like,
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I'll see how
Yeah.
you land this
So
plane.
it's because Satan cannot sit on the throne to rule the human race, or he would already right now. He doesn't have that authority. He doesn't have the dominion to do it. So they created hybrids, and they got enough human in them, and this is why I believe the flood came, to wipe out all the Nephilim, all the half-breeds. And this is where like Zeus, Hercules, all these things, like these stories, I believe are basically real. And that's a whole nother episode we can get into. But the whole idea is if you create this half-breed, okay, you now have authority given by God, right, if you have that DNA of a human, okay? So to get to the end, and we'll skip like 30 minutes of like actual like diving into it, is Satan steals your authority by you giving it to him. He can't have it unless you give it to him. So when you sin by nature, you are giving him legal grounds that are written in wherever it is in the universe that he now takes. So when people are running the countries or the world, are doing things, they are given to him, and he's running by proxy behind things. So when people talk about the elitists or the Illuminati and all these things, they talk about immortal people. This is literally the fallen angels that have been running this stuff from behind the scenes the whole time, I believe.
Okay.
And we give them our power. And we are completely naive to it. And I think that's the actual root of the problem. So that's what I mean. Like, I don't think a Trump or a Kamala or anyone's going to get us back to where it is until we actually address what's really going on. And it's basically becoming a God-fearing people in a country and knowing who the actual king is. Until that happens, this will go on forever. If you believe that story. I mean, obviously you
believe
I believe it,
yeah.
but like if this is true, like at the end of the day, there will never be a peace on earth until Jesus literally comes back. And it's because we have given our authority away by our God-given rights of who we are in his image. And that's what sin is. And that's why the devil comes after the family. That's why he breaks down marriages. That's why he goes, this is another crazy one. Why do you think he hates family? I just heard this like a month ago, and it blew my mind. Why does he really, really hate family?
Children are the most precious thing to God, and parents have the God-given authority over their kids, and Satan wants to strip back the layers of protection over the kids. So father, then mother, and then he has like direct access to the children. Yeah,
I heard someone say something. That's exactly what I thought. I don't remember who said this, but I was listening. It was on Blurry Creatures, of course. Okay. I think it was Tim Alberino, but he said it's because when Lucifer fell, he is exiled from the family. He can no longer be part of the family anymore. Mm-hmm. He's done. Where we have been given grace to be invited back even after we sinned. He sinned and he's gone. We sinned and we can be forgiven and brought back. Mm. That's why he doesn't like us, because he is out. There's a war going on, and he can't win it.
Yeah, he something was saying. I heard something about he was wanting to be. He thought he was, Jesus' equal. Like thought they were like, that's my brother, but he's not.
No, they are not.
No, he wanted to usurp God's authority, and he of course wants to kill God, but he can't. So he can damage or kill or distract something that God loves, which is us. So the war is over us, God and Satan. And I think we talked about this before in a couple podcasts, but that's the war, is over like the human spirit and our mouth and our hands, like what we do and what we say. The enemy has to use persuasion and manipulation, and God uses love. And we have these two forces kind of like tugging on us. And most people are being manipulated right now, and they have been for a long time. And to go back to what you originally said about what would bring us back, or if we can come back.
We can come back. Yeah.
I don't think we can or should go back to exactly where we were, because we weren't really like awake or in that great of a position a few decades ago or like a century ago, because we were just being manipulated in different ways.
You still feel like we were back when things were good. We were all naive to, like, if we want to call it like the Matrix.
Yeah, I would say we were still pretty naive. We just didn't have as much horrible things happening to us as right now. And then, but there's this thing, this concept called like Satan overplaying his hand, which I've heard people talk about, like the evil and all the sin in the world and the lockdowns and all the economic crashes and all the things happening actually pushes people to either one, they submit to an authority figure that's claiming to protect them, like the governments, like a lot of people did that. They like harden themselves so much with pride that they just like need to handle everything themselves, or it'll drive them to submit to God. Like they have to make a choice. They can't keep continuing in the area or the direction they're going in. So a lot of what we've been seeing is people starting to wake up, and people go to extremes. So those three paths, people go to submit to the governments, even more extreme than they have before. Very disturbing what happened during lockdowns with all the mandates and everything, and people just didn't care, and people have gotten more submissive. People have started to wake up and kind of go down their own path. Not quite found God yet, not quite following the governments. Somewhat they're resisting the world order that's trying to be created. And then I see a ton of people coming to God and coming to Jesus through all of the things that are happening. So that's, of course, the ideal path for someone to take. But I think we are seeing a massive shift to where things should be. I don't think we're going back to where we were before. Like, we're definitely not going back. We're definitely not going to just have like a reset and just like act like we did 50 years ago. And things are definitely changing, but I think there's opportunity to go in all directions. And we're seeing a lot of both right now.
I agree with that. I think what you just said is great, because you can't stay in that spot without making a choice, or it'll eat you up eventually. Like you have to decide where you're going to end up, right? Like I've been there, like even in just like business, right? I have to make a choice, and the longer I don't make a choice, I actually get more stressful. Then even if I made the bad choice and it worked out bad, I'm like, well, at least I'm going somewhere. Where like when you're just sitting here and I'm like, I don't know what side to pick or where to go, it just eats you up internally. And I've had that happen to me so many times in so many different scenarios, but like, especially your belief system. Yeah. Like, yeah, eventually, because it's, you got to figure out like, well, I don't know, so I'm going to, explore here, figure this, but eventually you're at a point where like, I got to choose, right? Like, what do you actually believe?
Right. And I think there's a lot of pressure right now to start making those choices. So we're seeing a lot of change, and we're seeing a lot of, some things go back to where they were, like people start focusing on the Bible more, and people start going back to family values, and they'll, in a way, things like that are going back to where they were. But I think we're just going somewhere completely new. Like, the past is the past, and we're not going back. We're definitely not going back to where we were.
I don't think you can, because of technology too.
Yeah.
It's like that changes everything.
Yeah. We have so much information now. And I think also, going back to something you opened up with, being desensitized by
get that word.
Yeah, I know, that got me too this time. I think a big part of it isn't just like that 1% and then 2% and then 3% lie and just moving the needle. I think a big part of it, especially with social media, is just volume. Like, you're being bombarded, if you have internet access, with all of the bad news everywhere in the world all at the same time. Like, you don't have a choice about having a filter to only take in the local news, or to take in what's happening in your own life or in your immediate community. Instead of just like going to your friends and talking about what's going on in your lives, you're hearing about everything that's going wrong in everyone else's life in the entire country, and you can't handle that. Like, you can't get mad about everything all at the same time. You can't have your stress hormones spiked all the time, ready to fight or like ready to make a difference in everything, because you're not meant to handle everything. So I think people
well, why can't we handle everything? But also too, because here's the thing, is there such a thing as overworking out? Can you overtrain?
Yes.
You think so?
Oh, 100%.
What data supports that? Because you can actually, what like the I'm just saying we can actually go and continue to work and and train every day. It's just that you just got to expose your body to it and you can get it used to that.
We can train for sure, and we can train hard, but training, there is a diminishing returns after a while. Like if you do nothing but train and never recover, then that's detrimental. Then you're not going to recover and build that muscle if that's what you're trying to do. And then with the information, with like negative news in the media, you're only meant to be able to handle the problems that you're solving in your sphere.
Yeah, but then I feel like that's kind of like limiting us. Like just like even if in business, like if you want to be able to go and accomplish, you got to be able to handle, stress. And so maybe not, you can't handle a certain amount of stress, but you can handle more and more stress. And same thing with what if we could handle that much going into, content, coming at us. But it's just, we're just training ourselves more and more to be able to handle that.
I think you're right, and I know what you're saying. I'm not saying we shouldn't be able to handle stress. With business, of course, you need to handle a lot of decisions being made. I hear your story all the time. Like, you need to be able to handle stress, but you're not meant to be able to handle the stress of everyone else's business's problems. It's just yours.
Right.
So I think, yes, we are definitely capable of handling a lot, but people are being bombarded with information that they shouldn't being focused on. You have to triage your resources away from everyone else's, or most problems in the world, to the ones that you are meant to focus on.
Right. But just like if, again, to me, that's like saying, I get what you're saying, but also
you only have so much to give. That's what I'm saying.
But do you? I mean, we're only using like a small percentage of our own mental capacity.
Well, like just for an instance on this, can you overtrain? Yes, because your body will shut down at some point. If you just went and ran like Forrest Gump, eventually you would just fall.
So okay,
you can only go so far.
But you're talking about continue, just nonstop continue. Whereas you can actually train every day. But if you're able to know how your body reacts, maybe you need only 6 hours of sleep, eat about a certain amount of meals a day, and then you just get back into it.
Yeah, but you're still taking a break. Your body has to rest.
You can train every day if you recover every day.
Yeah,
that's
this
fine.
is I actually just watched a TED Talk on this not long ago. How they're learning to be the best athletes in the world for the Olympics. They're learning there's a rest regimen that they have to hit peak performance, because they have to be rested enough for the next day.
Well, yeah, I know that because I mean,
yeah.
I bodybuild, and I've been.
You probably know more we do.
I've been around bodybuilders all the time, and they literally time when they reach their peak before they go on stage. They have to plan it specifically by meal, by workout, by whenever they take in water, to be able to fully flex. Because even if they're off by a few minutes in their peak time, their body could actually flush out where they don't have the striations, the exposure, of certain muscle fibers are not showing. It's literally timed.
So we got the physical. Are you talking about more mental too, or
I was talking about information. I was talking about.
I know, but
that's
also what I'm talking about. If our bodies are capable of doing that, why can't our brains also be that way as well?
You mean like not shut off ever?
I don't think we're disagreeing.
Yeah.
I don't think we're saying.
No, that's fine. And I'm not.
I like disagreeing.
I'm not here to.
He is.
And I'm not here to try to prove myself right, but I do think that we still don't know what we're fully capable of. And as soon as we start putting a limitation on something, I think we limit our what's actually truly possible.
I definitely agree with that statement.
Yeah, I don't mean, like, I'm not putting a hard cap on like how much information you should take in, but I think people are unaware that they're taking in all of the bad news for everybody else, and they're not even handling anything in their own sphere. Like, you immediately...
Yes. So you got to learn to be able to make your own bed too before you can go out and be able to tell people what to do.
Yeah, it goes inside out, and everyone's just being bombarded with everything all the time. That's the problem, and they're not they're not managing what problems they're solving, what information they're taking in, and what they're not, because you have to shut out some stuff and just focus on what you're meant to focus on. That's what I'm saying. Is like, you can't devote your energy to everything. and then you can slowly expand your sphere. You can slowly expand the amount of problems you can solve. But that's how it works. It's not just taking in like the front page of social media all the time and like reacting to it. You know, that's what I was saying. It desensitizes people to just take in all of the news all at the same time, when just focus on a couple stories that matter to you or you have some sort of influence on that you're going to do something about.
Yeah.
I think a big factor too with desensitized, whatever that word is. Gosh, I don't know how to say that word.
I'm gonna come up with another weird word that
there's just certain words.
About next time.
Is what you just said though is the social media, the fear, the propaganda. I mean, it's all over, and people don't believe. Here's what I want to say. Sorry. Why do we watch Hunger Games and Star Wars and all these other things where we vote for the rebels, but in real life, they don't vote for the rebels. They vote for the people that are destroying freedom. But yet in these movies, they're all like, oh yeah, I'm on that side. But they don't vote that way. They don't talk that way, actually. They don't like, but in the movies, they're like, oh, I'm team rebel. I'm team freedom. When you watch the movies. I don't know if you've ever seen these people. I have a handful I'm thinking of right now, and I'm just like, how do you get that desensitized? Like that's, to me, is a whole nother level. But I have a handful of people that are like that I see, and I'm like, it just does. I can't figure it out. Like I actually want to genuinely try to have a convo with some of these people. You can't do it though. Like they don't even want to talk to you.
I think there are few that are willing to talk to you. We just got to go find them. They're far and few.
I want to find them because like it's not that I'm trying to make fun of. I'm like, I genuinely want to know, how do you get there?
I think so many people are just so used to making the government their parents or their God.
No, like,
they just like, they don't have a solid faith in God, and they don't like take a whole lot of responsibility as they grow up.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Because of I don't know, maybe their backgrounds or their parents or something, and they just want to be taken care of like their kids, and the government offers it to them, and a lot of people sometimes just submit and will take all the benefits, and then they give up their freedom, their rights, and they're kind of okay just sitting there in that place of having some authority figure be God or their parents, like the government.
It's your 3 choices you put out earlier.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying whatever one you fall in is the way that you're going to kind of live your life in certain things, and it's hard to understand it because you're coming from completely different angles when you look at something.
People are being driven into these different choices, and they're being hardened in them. Like people's faith is being solidified more and more. People are being hardened with pride more and more. They're only going to depend on themselves. They can't trust anybody, and people are depending on the government more and more, and like it's hard to get to them. It's hard for each group to talk to each other more and more.
Yeah, that's another topic I'd like to jump into another
that's
day.
A good one.
It's about trust. How do we? I mean,
that's a good topic.
If we were,
hold on, let's just end this one and just shoot that one right now. No, I'm dead serious. We've already gone. Yeah, guys, we got a 45-minute episode. I think we got enough on this topic, and let's hit that one. I want to go there.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Jaron already announced it that we're going to go ahead and end it. This was fun, and we're going to go into the next one. We'll see you at the next one.
Episode 21 is going to be trust. Go watch it.
Amen.